First of all, may I move to apologise. I am not on top of my game today. As you can see from this neck scarf, I'm not 100%. And also, neck scarves are in fashion this time of the year. So, two birds with one stone. But let's move on and talk about these cymbals. These are the Gold Series cymbals from Bosphorus. We actually have not done a video on these before. Basically, in my opinion, and I think it's the general consensus here, that they're a shiny version of the traditional series. They're priced exactly the same as the traditional series. They're just buffed and shiny. Obviously, that means high-pitched sounds. It means greater cymbal clarity in terms of how it pierces through the higher frequencies. This means shininess, for those of you who that's important to. You can hear the hand-hammered aspect to it. You can hear that it's metal that's been touched in a particular way. You know what I mean. With love, platonic love, non-metal to human love, which is what you'd see in these cymbals. And so, without further ado, you're going to see a bit more of this up next. Yeah, basically we have this set of Gold Series cymbals that have been hammered, and I would move to say that all of the cymbals that are made, first of all, by Bosphorus are hand hammered, and you can see that, you know, it's craftsmanship from beginning to end. You know, this particular series, I would move to also compare to the Sabin, AAXs, sorry, or the Zildjian A Customs. Now, I know that's a bit of a controversial thing, but for those of you who don't know anything about Bosphorus, you kind of need to understand where we would place this as drummers. So that's where I would kind of put it. It's the same sort of bracket, just different. You know, I switched and I saw there was a difference, especially with stuff that's been hand hammered from or handmade from beginning to end. You know, it's not just been pressed and then hand hammered. It's been, you know, there's been hands in every aspect of the creation of each cymbal, the weight of which each one is different, etc., etc. So, you know, you're really getting something individual and original every time you purchase one of these. Like I said, these are Brighton cut-in. The series that we've chosen within, or the models that we've chosen within this series are mainly quick ones, because there's two versions. There's fast, which is a bit thinner, so you got the fast crashes, and the full crashes, which are a bit thicker, which are made for heavier use, which obviously weigh a bit more, and just a bit more about them. But they're, like I said, different models within the same series. What I'm using today are as follows. You've got the Gold Series hats, and some nice ones actually, because to be honest, a lot of the Gold Series hats I tried were a bit too light. This one seems to chick nicely. We got the 18-inch fast crash, 16-inch fast crash, the 20-inch ride, which I chose the heavier one, and the 10-inch splash. All right, so we've got a little array there to choose from. When we first touch on, each cymbal, we must remember, again, they come in different weights. So I would suggest, if maybe we might, put the weights down of each cymbal. But if you're wanting exactly what you're hearing here, then it has to be clarified. Otherwise, you might get something different based on what you order when you come in, and you'll be like, oh, okay, I thought this was that. It's not making a sound that I quite thought, it would do. As mentioned before, the hats are very cutting, very bright, and I'm going to say that throughout the series, they're all bright. But these ones in particular are quite special because they got that brightness, but they've got this kind of body to them. To be honest, the previous iterations that we've had in the shop didn't quite have that same body to them, just mainly because of the weight. So the weight of these is as follows. 1,240 grams at the bottom and 1,050 grams at the top. So it's got this kind of ethereal sort of high-pitched tone, but at the same time you've got the chunkiness of a heavy bottom. Next up we have the 18-inch crash. This is a full crash, remember, so it's a bit lighter. Still not the lightest, but it's a bit lighter than usual. 1,390 grams, great at higher volumes, great wash, would sound great with mallets, and just general, as even a ride, a small ride, would work very well. The bell's very cutting for crash as well, which I like, because, when you're crashing or when you're going in, you kind of want to be able to flip the switch a little bit and diversify with the sounds that you get from each cymbal, knowing that each cymbal is an instrument. A lot of people look at the set and they think, a set of cymbals, but each cymbal, especially at this level, is an instrument. Next up we have the 10-inch splash, again cutting, very, kind of airy tone to it, decays quite quickly. As you may have noticed, for those of you who know what Bosphorus is about, I chose a thinner one than usual, just to show that it could, melt in terms of the overall sound. It's very satisfying. It's a very weird place to put it on the kit, but just for, as we're demoing this, it'll be a good place to kind of set it off, as it were. Next up we have the 20-inch ride. Now the 20-inch ride that I chose is 2,700 grams. There was another one and it's slightly lighter. I'm not sure exactly what weight it is, but it's a bit lighter. And I chose a heavier one because I have a personal preference for heavier rides. I'm actually getting a ride that has nothing to do with the Gold Series, but it's like 3,000 grams. Because all it does is just ding ding, definition. And this is leaning towards that, so it's got great ping, it's got great definition, great cutting bell. I mean, I guess you could crash it to a certain degree, especially if you're a heavy hitter, but I would want a ride that's a ride, knowing that the crashes are fairly thin in comparison. That's why I chose this for this setup. And then last but not least, you have the 16-inch crash. It's a fast crash, and that's 986 grams. As you can see, light. It's not the lightest fast crash I played with, to be honest, from the Gold Series, but it's fairly light and it can take a beat. These cymbals are designed with the heavier hitter in mind. Don't get me wrong, you can kind of exude some finesse on this if necessary. There wasn't so much wall behind me, but in all honesty, you can, achieve a level of finesse. I mean, if, for those church drummers out there, that praise and worship kind of thing, this is a really good complete set for that. Its tones are dark enough to kind of fit the undertone of the worship section and the praise section. It can pierce through whatever needs to be pierced through. A lot thinner than usual, but still very cutting, decays very nicely, not too brash, but has this kind of smoothness about it, even though it's high pitched. And these will go very well, aside from church, will go very well in the band setting, whereby guitars are prominent because it will fit very well with the high frequencies of those particular sounds, or synth or whatever. These come in a variety of sizes. As with any Bosphorus cymbal, you can pre-order the size you want if you know that you have a particular size for a cymbal in mind. So the hi-hats would start from 10 inches right up to 16. Crashes from 13 right up to 20. Rides, I think the smallest one I've seen is probably about 19 right up to 22, 23, even 24, if that's a special order. Splashes 6, 8, 10, there you go, 12 even, and which is what I have, I think. There is also the option to get the Ozone, which we can order in, or Drumshack can order in. The Ozone, or the effects cymbal. I don't call it Ozone because it's it's Bosphorus. But so basically it's something that looks like this right here. So if Ryan, you could pass me that cymbal. Thank you, sir. You can actually get a gold version of this. This is the traditional counterpart, and those are available too. They'll be the same price as this. So whatever you see a traditional for, if you're looking to order one, just call in the shop and say, I want a gold version. It's a fairly quick turnaround. I think it's 6 weeks to 2 months turnaround, maybe less. And yeah, you can get that. They sound great. I don't have one because we bought and sold one quite quickly. The turnaround of these cymbals is in general very quick, because people find these, they come into the shop and then they're like, well, I need something that's not going to break my bank, sounds amazing, is top quality. To be honest, before Bosphorus was in Drumshack, it would always be like, okay, cool, you're looking at a second-hand section, or you're looking at a lesser brand, and they're like, oh, I don't want that brand. And they get all touchy-feely about, oh, why are you presenting me that brand and that brand? Well, that's what your budget dictates, isn't it? So, so eat it. But now, it's not the case. You can get these, and to be honest, these crashes and rides and stuff, brand new, they're the price of certain high-end, other high-end brands we have in the second-hand section. So, it kind of makes sense for you to choose as an option. So a lot of customers of them coming in wanting something completely different, and they find this and it's like, oh wow, it's brand new, got warranty, and quality, rhymes, and I've been quite happy with it. So it's definitely an option for those who are on a budget and who don't want to break that budget too tough, and who want to be able to have that cutting, high-pitched, clean sound without sacrificing on quality. And quality is the word of the day with these. These are not to everybody's taste. Some they might be a bit too bright for some. There's also the traditional series, but we'll talk about it another time. But these definitely, if you're looking to make up your mark on stage and make some nice high frequency noises, are an option for you.